Hello, everyone, and welcome to my thoughts on Venom. I think we can all agree that this movie was a long time coming. And even before Tom Hardy was casted, or there was even a whiff of a Venom movie to come out, the fans were really in need of one. Myself included. I grew up, of course, loving, Venom, Carnage, the symbiotes in general, and, back then, as it is now in some respect, it was tough to get anything symbiote related. I mean, back then, sure, maybe you could pick up some Venom stuff. That was probably the easiest thing to get, but Carnage wasn't. I could tell you that much. And as I've said, to some respect, he still is pretty tough to get, but with the new Hasbro lines and waves and such, it's much easier than before. I remember a couple of years ago there was a rumor that Sony was developing a film titled Venom Carnage. And then it was canceled after some months, and then Venom came into play, and then they cast Tom Hardy. And then they started filming. I saw the photos. I followed the development of this movie quite thoroughly. And I say all this because the fact that we have a Venom movie, something I never would have even dreamed of in a million billion years growing up as a kid, is the reason why I love this film. Of course, critics are going to slam it, giving it shitty reviews, saying, oh, A Star is Born is a much better movie because it has Bradley Cooper and he's directing it, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm not going to go see that. I'm going to go see Venom because it is Venom. Okay, I just want to put that out there. I've seen posts all over the internet saying, oh, maybe I should just rent this movie. No, go see Venom. For me, it's like the second coming of Christ, alright? With that out of the way, let's talk about the actual movie, and I'm going to be placing my bias aside for the rest of this thoughts on video, because I think that's just important to do in a situation like this. Let's talk about the story. Do not walk into this film expecting the comic adaptation in verbose. Just don't. It's Sony. They do not have the rights to include Spider-Man, to my knowledge, so you're getting a completely different version of Venom. He is not in the Daily Bugle, and he does not get fired because of Peter Parker. He does not bodybuild, and then the symbiote finds him. He is a reporter, however, for his own, I guess you could call it his own, not exactly his own company, but he does own his own show called the Eddie Brock Report. And I'm not going to be going into the plot too much, but similar situations do transpire as they do in the classic story, which I do appreciate. In other words, his life falls apart, and then the symbiote finds him. Now let me talk to you about that whole falling apart thing. Don't worry, I'm not going to be including any spoilers. A lot of the reason that people do not like this film is because, although they haven't stated it directly, is that there's too much talking. And I'm going to be attacking a lot of comic fans right now because I consider myself quite the movie buff. And I'm saying this from a movie buff perspective and not a comic perspective. This is how movies were before maybe 2010. And I say that because Iron Man 1 was in the similar style. The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton was in a similar style. It had real dialogue, real plot, real build-up. And that's what I mean, build-up. Something a lot of Marvel movies just don't really have. And I'm not saying Marvel movies and superhero genre is bad. I'm just saying that that's just how it is. And that's what this movie was targeting. It felt like I was watching not the superhero genre. And a lot of people wanted the superhero genre. And I understand that. But this is how it used to be. And I'm not telling you I'm an old chap who remembers the good old days. This wasn't that long ago. This was 10 years ago. But things have changed so much since the first Iron Man, since the superhero genre was born. It completely changed the film industry. So now whenever we get an actual build up in a film, people are like, no, we barely saw Venom, blah, 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 blah. So, just a heads up. Let's move on to Eddie Brock. As I've said, this is not your typical Eddie Brock from the comics. He's very humorous, he's very, I say comical because he's funny. I really like Tom Hardy's adaptation of him. And speaking of Tom Hardy, I think he did a great job. If you are a Tom Hardy fan, you're going to like this movie. It's his type of movie, his type of style. And I just really liked his Eddie Brock. I understood that it's obviously going to be different. And so I accepted that. I was content. And I went to watch the film knowing that I was content. And I really enjoyed the character. I thought he was real. I thought he was brought to life perfectly. And I thought Tom Hardy did a wonderful job. And I know he doesn't even look like his comic counterpart, but he felt like his own thing, that he wasn't grabbing any adaptations, or I'm sorry, any original concepts of the character and putting on the screen. He made it his own character, which is what I like. What I also like about this film is the interaction between the Venom symbiote and Eddie Brock. It's a very, very nice balance of seriousness and humor between the two. And it starts as a conflict as it slowly builds into something a little bit more personal, into more of a friendship. And I think it's just really, really well done. I definitely enjoyed the interaction between Eddie Brock and Venom. I thought it was cool. The villain of the story, as we all know, is Carlton Drake, who, as we saw in the trailers, is Riot. And I liked him as a villain. He's more of your stereotypical villain in any movie where he wants to, do more research, learn more about the symbiotes, and have more test subjects, and people don't like that, but he needs to do it, and blah, blah, blah. He'll threaten you if you don't. A very typical villain, but he worked for the film. And Riot was beautiful. I know people are basically saying, why Riot? Why are they using the silver one? Who gives a shit which symbiote they used? They used a symbiote, and he was beautiful. I thought he was amazing. So, and that's as much as I'll say about Riot, because he's kind of a mystery in this film. And that's that. I really enjoyed the villain. I really enjoyed the interaction between Brock and Venom. And in general, the flow of the film was very good. You can definitely tell where things were cut out. I will tell you that much. The whole 40 minutes of the film that were cut out is definitely evident in this film. You can tell when something cuts to something else. I'm not going to explain what, because this is a non-spoiler thoughts on. You can tell that, well, how'd he get there? Right? Because obviously something was cut out. And it wasn't that big of a deal. This is one of those situations where it's a very entertaining film. It's very entertaining. And I watched it twice. I liked it even better the second time. I plan to go see it a third time, hopefully next week, depending on when this video goes up. And I really enjoyed it. When I went to the theater, I got a I got a Venom cup and a Venom popcorn bucket, which I love. I don't know why I'm putting that in this thoughts on, but I thought that made the theater experience even better. And it was so cool. I loved Venom. Fuck the critics. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes. Go watch Venom. Okay? Go watch Venom, because it's a Venom fucking movie. I'm using the F word a lot because I am serious about this, people. I want to put that out there. Okay? Alright, I'm glad we had this talk. I think this was a good use of my time, and hopefully it was a good use of your time. Let me know down below in the comments what is your thoughts on Venom if you haven't seen it. Or if you haven't seen it, are you excited to see it? Will you see it, or will you rent it? Or will you wait till the DVD release? Or will you wait till Netflix? If I don't even know if Sony can put that stuff on Netflix. I think they can. I truly don't know. And as a side thought, stay after the credits. throughout all of the credits till the very end. That's as much as I'll say about that. Thank you all so much for listening to my thoughts on Venom. Highly recommend you watch this film, and I'm definitely going to see it again. Go check out The Sanctuary. All that info is in the description. You all know what's up with that. And as far as what's coming next, probably more streams for now. I don't know if I'll do more thoughts on stuff. Kind of like doing this, being up close and personal, just talking. So we'll see what goes on with that. But until then, you take care, everyone.